Hello and welcome back to Princess Evangile. Alright, just pulling the chair a little closer to my desk. Right. I mean that's a big part of leadership, right? It is, but with regard to that point, my big sisters have all agreed to give me their full support. At least it has been made clear to me that the society members were in agreement about the decision. And that is why I did not object. The way she spoke, Ritsuko-chan seemed like a person who liked to follow the rules. She was definitely a stickler that way. You mentioned the other day that you were against reform, Ritsuko. I am. And today we have become official rivals. I hope we can keep this amicable. As do I. As they shook hands, I felt like I'd seen Ritsuko-chan smile for the first time. I felt certain that it was due to Rai-san's welcoming attitude. Oh, delicious. It's a bit cold, but truly Fortnum and Mason is the only black tea worth drinking. Fortnum? You don't know of them. No, the only tea I've ever had is the miso kind that comes in bags. Bags? Do you mean satchels? What? What? The gap between us was as vast as a canyon. Nothing. What? What is it? Nothing. This is just really, really good. The tea in the cup was a dark indigo, and I'd never seen anything like it before. But even on first glance, it was clearly nothing like the black tea I'd had before, in taste and in smell. It's wonderful to see you eating so happily. It's not like I could indulge like this before, after all. Certainly not when my meals consisted of a single pan with milk. I brought the cup to my lips again. So good. I couldn't even remember what we were talking about before. Well then, today I would like to have a small strategy meeting. Strategy meeting? Before that though, I don't think I've given you a proper explanation of the association, have I? Right. Then I'll have to do that first. I should explain that the student council I should explain the student council to start with, but I believe that should be similar to other schools. Completely useless and ineffective. Every student council I've ever seen was completely useless and ineffective and was basically just there so a few students had something good to put in a university application. Or a CV in the case of the one at university. They typically serve as an executive body for school policy on the student level, is that correct? Yeah. An executive body. In other words, they made sure that things got done. I never served on the student council or committee in school, so I didn't know about their inner workings, but I knew they were involved in the sports and culture festivals. I believe that some serve legislative functions as well, but that is not the case here at Venice's. I referred to what happened yesterday as a vote, but in a way it is the legislative process. That is to say, at Venice's, the executive and legislative bodies are clearly separated. That is where the association comes in. Their most important duty is to oversee the holding of votes. In other words, you have a lot of votes to decide legislation. Correct. It serves well enough for votes on daily matters, but the grand vote is something rather different. That is because the candidates are the heads of both associations, and there would be a great deal of room for foul play. Got it. Because of that, the White Lily and Red Rose societies direct the vote in tandem. All seemed like a lot of trouble to go through, but well, I suppose it suited the kind of school that Venice's was, after all. The administration of elections is their main duty, but in reality they assist the student council as well. Do you have any questions regarding these points? I'm good. Then let us discuss strategy. The first item on our agenda is the lack of committee members. Yeah. Naturally, I haven't lost heart, but we must accept that a lack of staff will hurt us greatly in the fight to come. Say-san, did you notice the laptops in the White Lily Society's room? Sorry, wrong person. Say-san, did you notice the laptops in the White Lily Society's room? Yeah. The associations have home pages as well. They aren't on the internet, but you can access them from the school network. They require a great deal of maintenance, which requires a large staff as well. I see. What's more, this year we must rally public interest as much as we can. You can't have someone substitute? One must be voted in to be a member. Oh, I see. And I'm certain that a re-election would not be allowed. We sat in silence for a few minutes. We'll just need to find out how to get them to come back. You're right. She took a sip from her cup and returned it to her saucer and then paused. I have little confidence, but we can't give up without trying. We'll just speak to each of them individually. Putting that aside, we'll need to expand your social circle, Masaya-san. Yeah. In order to pass the premier judgment, more than anything, they will need to know you as a person after all. Yeah. Don't worry, I'm certain that everyone will accept you, Masaya-san. Yeah, I'll do my best to make sure that happens. Okay, so we're up to the 11th. A week had passed, and I was working as hard as I could to expand my social circle, but no luck at all. I tried my best to talk to people with a personable smile, but well, I was shot down every time. I could barely approach anyone without them running away, usually screaming. I was about to give up hope. Keep fighting, Masaya-san. Go! Thanks. And then there was Ruriko-san, who claimed to have an interest in men and as such wanted to know more about me. She wasn't lying. Sometimes she would approach me directly and other times she would watch from afar. But how am I supposed to make friends with them? Do you have any ideas, Ruriko-san? Let me think. You could bake them some delicious bread, perhaps. Lure them in with food, you mean? You do love bread, don't you, Masaya-san? Well, I do like it. Then I'll call you Pantabel Jr. Senior is right here, of course. Coo! There are a lot of people who like bread. If you wish, I'll bring you more for another time. Thanks, I'd like that. Oh, it really was good after all. Did you enjoy the baguette I made last time? I could make you a petard next time. There's butter inside? That sounds great. Cuckoo! Coo! Huh? You're very amusing, Masaya-san. I truly enjoy your humour. Ruiko-san turned to leave the classroom, her long hair trailing out behind her. I wasn't trying to make a joke. Looks like it's a hard fight, Masaya-san. A little. She'd been following me all week for what she called follow-up interviews, so I'd become rather used to seeing Tami-san around. Well, just be patient. The girls are hothouse flowers. They've hardly interacted with a guy before in their lives. Yeah. You're a pretty smooth operator yourself, though. What do you mean? Oh, you know what I mean. Getting all friendly with Bijou Blue. Who's that? Oh, come on, you didn't know? Ruiko-san. Is that her title? Oh, can I assume you don't know what the words mean either? I'm still not used to all this French. It would be easier if it were in English, at least. Bijou Blue means the blue gem. Wow. I found myself speaking in genuine admiration. So Ruiko-san was the blue gem. Yeah, it fits. I know, right? Our school turns out beauties like no other. For that matter, Tami-san was quite pretty herself. It almost seemed like it was a prerequisite for attendance. Getting on good terms with Ruiko-san is a pretty good strategy. Strategy? What? It wasn't intentional. Huh? What I'm saying is she has a title, a certain amount of influence that goes with it. Probably even more than she realises. Mitsuki-san had said something like that too. So I figured you made a beeline for Ruiko-san. Was I wrong? No, not at all. She just mentioned she had an interest in guys, so... Huh? Did she say why? As the ace of the news club, she was quick to jump on the fact. You'd have to ask her if you want to know more. Well, that's true. Go right to the source. That's the reporter's way. Anyway, I wasn't planning to go after people with influence. I wanted to make friends with everyone individually. Oh? Well, that's very honourable of you. I guess so. It's hopeless. Oh, Rai-san, how'd it go? Though judging for her expression, I really didn't have to ask. No good. Couldn't sway a single one of them. She'd been working on convincing the society members, and as predicted, it had been a total failure. How are things going with you? Sorry, no luck here either. In one class there's a girl who hides her face behind a textbook or notebook when I show up. They don't seem prepared to accept me just yet. Yeah. What class was it? Let's see, oh, I can't seem to remember, but it happens every time. I've tried to stop by each class a few times. That's a little surprising. I wouldn't think they'd actually hide. But you really shouldn't rush yourself, Masaya-san. As a matter of fact, I've got an idea. Have you ever heard the term involunteers? No, screw it. Have you ever heard the term influenteers? I think I've heard it, but I'm not sure. It refers to an informal volunteer. It's a bit of a neologism. Yes, I was so concerned with the official elections that I didn't even think of it. Even if they're not official society members, people can still support us. Oh, I see. So, we'll begin solicitations for the first thing after class today, understand? Roger. Oh, sorry. I mentioned it before, but I can't help. I mean, I've come to like you personally, but I appreciate that. But officially speaking, I need to be neutral and impartial. Fair and balanced. Can't take sides. I understand. We could report on it, can't you? Tell them we're recruiting supporters. Yeah, of course. Don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. Doesn't conflict with my journalistic principles. But I'm going to write everything. The good stuff and the bad stuff. Sure. I'm sorry, implying that journalists are politically impartial. I only know of one organisation where that's genuinely true, and that's just because they make a very, very concerted effort to stay neutral. You know, every other news organisation I am aware of is biased in one direction or another, to lesser and greater extents, some of them to the point of hilarity. Because I'll freely admit, I might not be American, but Fox News is one of the funniest things I have ever seen. Until you remember that a lot of people believe the absolute tripe they talk. Listen, Chiyo-san. Yeah? What do you think of Masaya-san? Something wrong? Oh no! I've had so few opportunities to interact with boys. Masaya-san doesn't appear to be a bad person when I speak to him, but I don't have any standard to judge him by. I see. Chiyo-san, have you interacted with Masaya-san yet? Masaya-san's just... Oh, she dropped a classmate's honorific. And it's the boy, too. That's not very ladylike of her. She's a final course tourist, after all. Don't let it bother you, Chiyo-san. Right. Well, about him, I haven't spoken with him yet. I don't know, I guess. I see. But I feel... It's just a feeling, you know. It has no basis whatsoever, so... Yes? I do think he might not be a bad person. That's just the feeling I get. I think you're right. Oh, I know. If you haven't spoken with him yet, why don't I take the opportunity to introduce you? Well, I'm not... You don't wish to? The chairwoman encouraged him to make girlfriends. Boyfriends and girlfriends. I know so little of the meaning of those words as well. If it refers to friendship, then I can imagine. But it's always better to have more friends. I'll pass. Oh, I see. Actually, scientifically speaking, the human brain can only cope with about 100 people who you could dub friends. I'm serious, that's the evolutionary reason why tribes tended to be around 100 people. It's your brain physically can't cope with knowing more people than that. Which is, you know, that's actually a really interesting thing. Well, let's get going, Masaya-san. Sure. You're putting what you talked about at lunch into practice, right? Could I have an interview about it? Please do. Where are you going to attack first? Class B. Now that I'm rounding up infiltrators, I know just who to recruit first. Who? Bijou Blue, right? No, not her. Oh? Who is it then? I don't recall you mentioning any other good prospects. Well, you'll see soon enough. I haven't actually spoken with her before, so I can't assure that it'll go that well. Someone you haven't spoken with before. As we spoke, we arrived in front of Class B. Oh, here we are. This is the class with the girl who always hides her face when I come in. I see. Oh, I hope it isn't her then. Oh my, it's Sola de Cole. I heard the whisper of various voices all around us. That was the power that Rice-san had. Now then, the moment I stepped in, the girl hid her face behind her notebook again. God, she must have been extremely shy. At least, well, I hope that was the only reason. That plus she blatantly knows you. Come on, this chapter is called, what was it, A Friend Reunites or something like that? Friends Reunited, something like that? I'm trying to think, what was that incredibly bad Avengers joke I made? Anyway, whatever. So yes, this is clearly somebody he knows from the real world. Because let's face it, this school is not the real world. This is... well, I think the closest comparison actually would be Eton in this country. For anyone who doesn't know, Eton is a notorious school that is privately funded, costs an absolute bucket load to go there per term, and has churned out a very large percentage of our current government. It's also boys only, or it was last I heard, assuming that hasn't changed, and it is notorious for the fact that all the people there have an annoying habit of being gits. I'm not even kidding. It's kind of amazing how evil most of them seem to be. Her destination was the girl who was hiding her face. Oh, Rice-san. Salutations. She stood right in front of her. She must have known she was being approached, but she just hid further behind her notebook, and her hands and shoulders were trembling. It was definitely an unusual reaction. Is she afraid? No, that can't be. Chio-san. What? What is it? Nothing. Wait a minute. Well, the name Chio isn't exactly uncommon. It's not like Rusian or something. But even so, my heart was pounding. Chio-san started trembling even more. Rice-san and Ruiko-san both looked suspicious, while Tami-san seemed curious. While feeling the girl's eyes sharply fixed on me, my own eyes were locked on Chio-san. My heart suddenly started racing faster. Her notebook was open. Her face was completely hidden, but well, she couldn't hide her hair. Those characteristic pigtails, the colour of her hair. She was... Chio? Is that you? Ah. Huh? Hmm. The moment I spoke, Chio-san, no, my Chio, threw down her notebook and sent her chair clattering as she stood up. Ah! Her brows knitted tightly, and she ground her teeth, and her eyes began to well up with tears. She never looked at me this way before, but it was unquestionably her. There's nowhere I'd forget my childhood friend's face. You! Huh? What's... Traitor! Bam. Oh ho ho ho! Snap, snap, snap. Yeah! I was pretty sure that strange squeal had come from me, but it was such a merciless blow that I wasn't surprised that I would cry out in shock. Well, she's pissed about something. A scoop! What a scoop! Tami-san ran off, chasing after Chio's departing form. All that remained in the room... Ah! Did you see? Did you see? Violence! Actual violence! Oh dear, oh dear! There was an explosion of activity, a lingering anger, a lot of cold gazes. What on earth happened between them? I had assumed he was not a bad person. Perhaps I was wrong. Even the usually placid Ruiko-san looked distressed. Back to the student council. Ah, so that is what happened. Yes, it's all over the school, Wanasama. I've already let the teachers know and they'll dole out punishments tomorrow. I see. Really, the entire matter is without precedent. A slap in the face. Yes, we've had fights in our way, of course, but... I'm certain the Messiah-kun did something to deserve it, though. Yes, I'm certain he did. I wonder what he might have done. I hope it was nothing untoward. I've heard that men are uncontrollable sexual beings. People wouldn't say that sort of thing if it wasn't the truth, would they? Yeah, here's a tip. People are idiots. I'm sorry to admit it, but people say a lot of bollocks that isn't true. I'm as guilty of it as the next person. I'm willing to bet that half the things I say are probably in some way factually inaccurate. And it doesn't take much for a rumour to go from, you know, something fairly harmless to he killed a basket of puppies. Well, I hardly know, of course. In any event, it is true we found nothing inappropriate in his residence, but I suppose he was just putting up a good front. Yes, he's a crafty one, I'm certain of it. I agree. That's just the trouble. We need to purge him from Venices by any means necessary. Is that what you're saying? Yes. The joys of one form of... Let's face it, this is bigotry. No question about it. And 90% of bigotry basically comes from not having enough information about the other group. You know, it's hilarious whenever you see groups that say, oh, we should kill all of this particular group of people because they're not like us. And then you actually get into it and they've got a lot more in common than they have different. People have this annoying habit of only seeing differences and not seeing things that are the same. The paper came out quick the next day. And what's more, even before the paper came out, it seemed like everyone knew what had happened yesterday. It was a boarding school, and they were all familial. Once it was out there, the information spread like wildfire. And the second I left my room, I felt like I'd been on a bed of needles. And that feeling didn't change when I arrived at the classroom. In fact, to the contrary, the gazes fixed on me just seemed harsher, colder. I wanted to ask someone what the Tarantotor serpent the article had mentioned could mean. Tentator serpent. That had better not be my goddamn title. Could have meant, but no one would meet my eyes. Salutations. Good morning. Oh dear, you still have a mark. Yeah, I was kind of shocked when I saw it this morning. Bright red in the mirror. I'm the one who was shocked. Rice-san put her hand to her forehead and looked up at the ceiling. Everyone in the school's talking about you. You know that, don't you? Yeah. You were conspicuous to begin with, and now this. Some people theorise that this is the first act of violence in Venice's history. It's only natural it should be everywhere. That's true, but was that really violence? Oh, she hit you so hard. The sound it created was incredible. A slap is kind of like mid-level violence. Yeah, it's not properly violent unless you need to hobble for a bit later. Let's face it, I'm fairly confident I've taken harder strikes than that, just, doing some free play sparring. So. Well, in addition, she looked at me from the corners of her eyes. I would like it if you would explain to me privately just what happened between the two of you. Well, after what happened yesterday, I'd run out of the room after Chino. But I'd lost her by the time I reached the hallway. Checked back in the dorm, but whether she was there or not, she didn't respond to my knocks. I knew I couldn't hang around in the halls forever, so eventually I withdrew to my room, let it go for the day. Sure. After all, she called you a traitor. That's a very strong word. Naturally, I don't believe you're a tentator serpent myself. But even so, this is a very serious matter. I can't assess the situation until you give me a full explanation. What is it? What does tentator serpent mean? Seductive serpent. In other words, the whole incident has been interpreted in that light, Mr. Casanova. She poked at my chest as she spoke and finally took a seat. Good morning. Sister Mishima entered and I took my seat as well. After homeroom ended, Sister Mishima addressed me. Miss Air-kun, can you please meet me in the hallway? Yes, ma'am. The headmistress wishes to speak to you about yesterday's events. Please go to her office after class today. Yes, ma'am. Now, you don't have to be so formal. She patted my shoulder gently. This kind of thing happens all the time. But Rice-san said it was the first instance of violence in Venice's history. Well, it's true that you don't see slaps to the face very often. Quite a few scratch marks, though. My beloved One-sama had lunch with another girl. Cree! Things like that. In fact, when I was here at school, Sister Mishima's gaze became distant. Well, that's the long and the short of it. Oh yes, it seems Chiyo-san has been called along with you. Ah, I see. If you wish to line up your stories, I suggest you do it quickly. Alright. Line up our stories? Oh, it'd probably be for the best, but I was hesitant to actually go see Chiyo. There was the possibility of a repeat of the incident. I didn't especially mind being hit, but I didn't want to hurt her standing in the school. Of course, I didn't intend to avoid her forever. I guess maybe I should just wait till after class. What did the sister say? Headmistress wants to talk to me. I have to go see her after class. The headmistress? Yeah, this is the first time I've ever been chewed out by the headmistress. This is no laughing matter. It isn't. The headmistress is always a strict woman, but she's likely to be especially harsh against you. Why? The headmistress is the leader of the traditionalist faction. Ah. After class, though. I suppose we'll save our conversation for tonight. I'll send you an email tonight, then. Sure. Wasn't that photograph intense? I caught the exact moment. Not bad with the camera, am I? Sure, whatever. Hey, don't be bad at me. I just did my best to communicate what happened to as many people as possible. That's what a journalist does. Yeah, I know. But where did your holy trinity even come from? You weren't even carrying a bag. Trade secret. I'll give you a hint, though. The key to the secret might be inside my hat. She's keeping them in a strange place again. Really was a strange hat, but... well, I wasn't sure if it was okay to ask about it, so I just let it go for now. But it was a good shot, at least. I could certainly understand why she'd want to brag about it at Lil. Well, I'm doing fine, but... I hope Chiyo's okay. I'm not worried about her being scolded by the teachers or anything, but... I keep thinking the other girls might give her the cold shoulder about that. Aren't you kind? What are you mad about? I'm not mad about anything. Well, as part of the news club, I know a thing or two, and Chiyo-san never really did fit in. Oh, really? I stopped eating. A little, yeah. For once, Tami-san was being evasive. But Chiyo's so friendly. She was popular back at Itsatsu Auxiliary. There was something I've been wondering. You two have known each other for quite some time. Yeah. I sat back in my chair, resumed eating. Today's meal was the 10-piece nigiri sushi. That sounds about right. Not even the tentator serpent could build up an illicit relationship so soon after arriving in school. Yeah, speaking of which, is that tentator serpent thing something you came up with, Tami-san? Oh, it's really getting around, isn't it? I'll be honest, I worked hard on that one. No, that's not what I was asking. But what is your relationship? Alright, let's see. Well, I guess you'd call us childhood friends? Childhood friends? So you've known each other since you were children? Yeah. Oh, I get it. So that's why you don't give her an honorific. My information network says she doesn't give you an honorific either. Thought there was something strange about that. Sorry, this is the problem with having multiple different devices, is both with the Facebook Messenger app. When I get a message, they both bing. Sorry. Oh, that's nice. Very nice. That lucky girl. I'm so jealous. Tami-san nudged me with her elbow. I shrugged and popped another nigiri in my mouth. To have a dashing young man as your childhood friend. Not bad at all, right? Are you sure you aren't mad, Rice-san? I am absolutely not mad. I am not even slightly bothered by all this constant talk of childhood friends. Huh? If you will excuse me. Masaya-san, you're writhing and your eyes are watering. What? Oh, did you say something? Oh, I felt my face was going to explode. I could barely hear anything. I said you're writhing and your eyes are watering. Oh. It's just that wasabi was stronger than I was expecting. Perhaps the cook was just issuing a bit of punishment to the Tyranitar serpent. Seriously? Nah, it was probably just an accident. It's not like it's made by a real sushi chef. This is really good, though. I'm surprised they'd make sushi for a school lunch. Wonder if I should have another plate. Well, he shall be making that decision in the next part. So until then, thank you very much for watching. I shall see you in the next part.